My boyfriend made me wait 2 hours at an expensive restaurant for our anniversary, then called me like a pathetic puppy in front of his friends. They all laughed. I just smiled. And this morning, he called me 78 missed calls. Now he is unemployed, carless, and his stuff is in the dumpstone. My partner kept me waiting 2 hours at a fancy restaurant for our anniversary. When he finally showed up with his friends, he loudly announced, "See? I told you she'd still be here," like a sad little dog. His friends all chuckled. We had been together 3 years, and I had just finished paying off his car loan. I managed to smile and ordered another beverage. Earlier today, my phone showed 78 missed calls. And his belongings are now in garbage bags at the dump. Austin and I met 3 years back when my apartment got flooded. My upstairs neighbor left their bathtub running all weekend. Seriously, who does that? I had to bunk with my brother while my place was getting fixed up. Austin was the plumber sent to sort everything out. He always found more issues every time he came by. I get it now, he just wanted to see me. It was kind of funny. At the time, I thought it was sweet. Now, I wonder if he made the problems worse just to stick around longer. Anyway, I recall how simple it was to chat with him. That's unusual for me, since I'm usually pretty shy around strangers. A year later, things were good. We moved in together after 8 months. I know, quick, right? But his lease was ending, and it just made sense for our wallets. Austin worked as a plumber but had trouble keeping a steady paycheck. He always had problems with his jobs. He'd either get fired for showing up late or he'd quit because his bosses were total jerks who didn't get how good he was. That was the first big warning sign, and I totally missed it. As time went on, Austin always sent me these super long, mad voice notes on Telegram about his boss. He'd call him a total dummy and make fun of how he talked or his clothes. He'd go on and on about how his boss couldn't even open a door and how he was doing all the work but getting no credit. I saved these notes, even downloaded the really mean ones. Couldn't tell you why I held onto them. Maybe deep down, I figured they'd come in handy. He talked the same way about his folks, especially when they wouldn't lend him cash. He'd send these horrible voice notes calling his dad a joke of a dad and his mom a nag who couldn't think straight. Once, when they wouldn't help pay for his car, he sent a 5-minute voice note. He said they were total failures who never did anything worthwhile. He said he was ashamed to be tied to people like that. It always made me squirm, hearing those, but I just tossed them in my favorites without much thought. By the second year, I was pretty much paying for most things. My job isn't a dream, but it's solid. I'd tell myself, hey, relationships are give and take. Sometimes one person handles more until the other catches up. Austin always swore things would get better. He just needed one big break, and everything would be different. Half a year back, Austin's car broke down. It was a 2015 Mustang, way too expensive for him. He was gutted because it was supposedly his dream ride. He needed a car he could count on for his job. Like an idiot, I said I'd help with the payments, since it was making it hard for him to hold down work. I wound up taking on the whole loan, $386 every month. That was a big chunk of change for me. I just wanted to back him up, I guess, hoping this would finally help him settle down. Side note, a bunch of you asked why I'd pay for his car. Now, it's clear as day, but then, it just felt like I was doing something for us. We shared a place, shared bills, and he couldn't get regular work without a car. Plus, he was really torn up about possibly losing his ride. Okay, so last night was our 3-year anniversary. I'd just paid off his car loan for good, last week. That really hit my bank account hard. I booked a table at this fancy restaurant downtown. We always said we wanted to go, but couldn't swing it. Truth be told, I couldn't even afford for both of us. I got all dolled up, new dress. Did my hair. The works. I got there at 7 p.m. for our booking. Austin texted me, said he was running behind, and told me to grab a table. By 7:30, I'd sent 3 texts. Nothing back. By 8 o'clock, I'd called him twice, went right to voicemail. The waitress kept giving me sad eyes, asking if I wanted to order or maybe come back another time. I was red-faced, but kept telling her, oh, he's just stuck in traffic, probably, all while checking my phone like every 2 minutes. At 8:45, yeah, I'd been by myself for nearly 2 hours. I was about ready to bail. Then Austin finally shows up, with 4 of his buddies. This wasn't a mix-up. He never said anyone else was coming to our anniversary dinner. So, they all troop over to my table, laughing and clearly already tipsy. And then, I swear, I still can't believe it. Austin turns to his friends. He says it real loud, so other tables could hear. See? Told you she'd still be here, like a sad little puppy. 2 hours, and she didn't split. They all busted out laughing. One of his pals, Colton, who I always knew was a real jerk, chirped, dang, you weren't kidding. She's got it down. More laughs. Austin then just drops into the seat next to me. He pinches my cheeks like I'm a kid. He says, "This is why she's the best. Most chicks would have stormed out, but my girlfriend, she pays my bills and waits like a good girl." Then he gives me this nasty smirk and says, "Aw, honey, did you think this was gonna be some romantic dinner? That's cute. We got a poker game after this. I just had to make sure you were set for the next payment first." When I just stared, he grabbed my chin hard and turned my face toward him. He said, "Hello? Anyone home? Geez, you're such a sad sack sometimes. Say something. Or are you just gonna sit there looking like a kicked dog?" His buddies thought that was a riot. I couldn't catch my breath. 3 years with this guy. I just forked over almost $12,000 to pay off his car, and this is how he saw me? This is what he told his friends? That I was just some sad doormat he could walk all over? The waitress came over, looking real awkward, and asked if we were ready to order. I managed to smile, somehow, and said, "Actually, I'll take another glass of wine first." Austin and his friends ordered a ton of pricey appetizers and drinks. They were still cracking jokes about how patient I was, and how lucky Austin was to find someone so chill. Austin then pointed at me and told the waitress, "Don't bother with food for her, she's watching her weight. Another few pounds, and we'd need a bigger booth." Everyone chuckled while I just sat there, totally shamed. Once my wine came, I took a slow drink, set the glass down easy, and said I needed the restroom. Austin hardly even looked at me. He was too busy telling his friends some dumb story about his boss. I looked at myself in the bathroom mirror for a good 5 minutes. No tears. Not even mad yet. I was just completely over it. 3 years of making up reasons for his screw-ups. 3 years of paying for everything. 3 years of brushing off bad signs. And this is how he truly saw me? Right then, I made up my mind. No big drama. No crying, no yelling, no throwing my drink. Nah, Austin had something way more thought out coming. I pulled up Telegram and went through all those voice notes Austin sent me. The ones where he talked smack about his boss, calling him useless and a cheat. The ones where he said his parents were sad failures. I had tons of them saved, some even downloaded to my phone. I shot a text to my friend Layla, who lives close by, asking if she could grab me in 10 minutes. Then I headed back to the table, gave everyone a fake smile, and said I had to take a quick call for a work thing. On my way out, I stopped at the server. I quietly paid for just my wine with my card. I told her the guys would handle the rest of the tab. Then I walked right out, hopped into Layla's car, and blocked Austin's number. He wouldn't even know I was gone before it was too late. But here's the kicker, I didn't just block him. I was cooking up a plan. See, for years, I'd been his go-to for all his tech problems. I had his email login, his cloud stuff, his bank app for those car payments, even his social media. Let's just say I know a thing or two about getting information out there fast. That all went down last night. This morning, my phone blew up. 78 missed calls from numbers I didn't know, probably his buddies. And then, the best part, a bunch of panicked texts from Austin's work phone. He was begging me to talk, saying it was only a joke, and asking, "What did you do? What did I do?" That's a tale for another day, when I have more time to tell it all. But let's just say his boss and his parents got some real interesting voice clips this morning, thanks to Telegram. And that car he was so hung up on? Turns out if you cancel the last payment and show the loan company proof of cheating, they don't mess around with taking it back. Lots more to happen. I still need to pack up his stuff and take it to its new address, the local dump. Quick note, thanks for all the cheers in the comments. For those wondering if this is true, yeah, sadly it island. Don't sweat the legal stuff. Everything I did was totally by the book. I'll get into more detail in my next post. First update, loads of you asked what went down after I left the restaurant. So here's the scoop. After Layla scooped me up from the restaurant, I was strangely calm, like, no tears at all, and that's not me. I usually cry at puppy ads. I think I was just stunned. Layla kept checking if I was alright. I just stared out the window, replaying all those voice notes Austin had sent me over the years. Once we hit my apartment, I finally lost it. Full on ugly crying, makeup running down my face, the whole shebang. Layla just stayed with me, brought over some ice cream. Cookie dough. My top pick. And let me talk it out for a solid 2 hours. She didn't even glance at her phone. That's true friend material right there. Near midnight, my phone went wild with texts from Austin. First, they were mad, like, "Where the heck did you bail to?" And, "You really left me with the check?" Then they changed to fake worry, "Are you okay? And just tell me you're safe." By 1 o'clock in the morning, he was sending these super long texts, saying it was only a joke and I was making a big deal out of nothing. Total gaslighting garbage. I didn't answer any of them. Instead, I grabbed a pen and paper. I'm a huge list person, by the way. I wrote down all the accounts I could get into. Number 1, his email, from when I helped him look for jobs. Number 2, his Instagram, because he always forgot his password. Number 3, his iCloud, which I set up on my laptop when his broke. Number 4, his Spotify. We had a family plan, and I paid for it. Number 5, his bank app, for those car payments. And number 6, our shared Netflix, which, yep, I also paid for. While writing this, it hit me. It was wild how much access he'd given me to his whole online world. But it also gave me this strange feeling of strength. For the first time with him, I felt like I was calling the shots. Heads up. Some folks in the comments are worried this is against the law. Relax. He straight up gave me all these passwords and asked me to handle his accounts. I wasn't sneaking around or anything. The next morning, after maybe 3 hours of shut-eye, I kicked off my plan. First up, the car. I logged into his bank app and saw that the payment I'd made last week was still waiting to clear. It hadn't fully gone through yet. I immediately rang the bank and told them I needed to cancel a payment because of fraud. The person on the phone was super nice. When I explained that I'd been tricked into paying for someone else's car, they asked for proof. So I sent screenshots of texts where Austin basically said the car was his, not mine. I also told them I had voice recordings of him bragging to his friends about me paying for his car. I actually got one of those from a Telegram voice message where he was talking big about me covering all his bills. The bank person put me on hold for what felt like forever. Then they came back and said they'd undo the payment while they looked into it. While I was dealing with the bank, Austin called me like 15 times. I just sent him to voicemail every single time. He left these messages that got more and more frantic. First mad, then sorry, then mad again. In one message, he actually said, "You're making too big a deal out of a stupid joke and messing up our anniversary." Our anniversary? The one where he showed up 2 hours late with his friends and made a fool of me? That anniversary? Seriously. Okay, around noon, I decided to snoop around his other accounts. I wasn't looking to cause trouble, but I was curious if there was anything else I should know. And boy, did I find stuff. There were dozens of texts between Austin and his friends, all planning the restaurant stunt. They'd been talking about it for days. One text from Colton, his jerky friend, said, "Can't wait to see her face when you tell her it's not really an anniversary dinner, LOL." Austin texted back, "She'll probably just sit there and take it, like always." But wait, it got worse. As I kept scrolling, I found emails with some girl named Riley from his job. Flirty messages with pictures going back months. Nothing outright saying they were hooking up, but definitely crossing the line. One message from just last week had the subject "after work," with just a winky face emoji. My hands were shaking at this point. 3 years of my life, thousands of dollars, all the help and patience I'd given him, and this is how he paid me back? I took a breather and made some coffee. I spilled it everywhere because my hands were literally shaking. Layla had gone to work, but she kept texting to check on me. I sent her a quick "I'm fine" text and got back to my detective work. Next, I opened his Google Drive through his email. He had a folder called Voice Notes where he kept recordings of calls and chats, mostly work stuff. But then I found a recording from 3 months ago. It was him and Colton, laughing about how I was basically his sugar mama and how he was just keeping me around until something better came along. I had given him everything, and he'd been making fun of me the whole time. So, I made another list. 1. Send the voice clips to his boss, the ones where he calls him a clueless idiot. 2. Send the voice clips to his parents, where he calls them failures and sad sacks. 3. Cancel all the stuff we shared, like subscriptions. 4. Pack up his belongings. 5. Change all my passwords and lock him out of my accounts. The voice messages were easy. I had them all tucked away in my Telegram favorites. Some I'd even downloaded to my phone because they were so shocking when I first heard them. I set up a new Telegram account with a temporary number. Then I sent the clips of Austin trashing his boss to his boss. I found his contact info in Austin's email. He'd sent his resume to him recently. I did the same with his parents, sending them the clips where he called them pathetic failures and made fun of them for not being successful enough. I didn't add anything extra, just sent the clips with a simple message. Thought you should hear how Austin talks about you when you're not around. Next, I logged into all our shared accounts, like Netflix and Spotify, and either changed the passwords or shut them down completely. It felt so good to just wipe him out of my online life. Then came the tough part, packing his things. Austin had been living with me for over 2 years, so he had a lot of stuff at my place. I started with his clothes, shoving them into garbage bags. I didn't even fold them, which felt kind of rebellious since I always did his laundry. I filled 7 bags just with his clothes and shoes. I was halfway through his bathroom stuff when my doorbell rang. My heart literally stopped dead. I peeked through the peephole, and it was Austin. He was standing there, looking all mopey, holding flowers. Flowers? Like that would fix anything. I didn't answer. I backed away from the door and sat on the floor in my hallway, trying to be super quiet. He rang again and again, then started banging on the door, then calling my phone, which I'd put on silent. Finally, he started shouting through the door about how I was acting like a child and we needed to talk like grown-ups. After about 20 minutes of that, one of my neighbors must have threatened to call building security because he finally left. But not before sliding a note under my door. It said, "We need to talk. I'm sorry about last night. It was supposed to be a joke. Please call me." A joke? Being publicly shamed and put down by the person who's supposed to love you is no joke. I went back to packing his things, feeling even more determined. By 6 p.m., all his stuff was in garbage bags by the door. 15 bags total, 3 years of a relationship, all reduced to 15 garbage bags. That's when my phone chimed with an email. It was from the bank. They'd given the green light for the payment to be reversed. The money would be back in my account in 3 to 5 business days. I actually did a little happy dance right there in my living room. Almost right after that, I got a frantic text from Austin. "Why is there a tow truck at my apartment? What did you do to my car?" I didn't text back, but I sure did smile a lot. Around 8 p.m., my phone basically blew up with messages. Turns out Austin's boss got the voice clips and called him into a meeting right away. From the flood of increasingly desperate texts Austin sent me, it didn't go well. Apparently, his boss had already been a bit suspicious about some work problems, and hearing Austin call him a worthless idiot who couldn't find his backside with both hands was the final straw. Austin got put on probation, waiting for a deeper look into things. His parents also got their clips and called him, crying, asking why he'd say such awful things about them. According to his texts, his mom was in hysterics, and his dad wouldn't even talk to him. By 10 p.m., Austin was sending me these super long, rambling texts about how I'd wrecked his life and how one bad joke didn't justify what I'd done. He kept switching between begging for forgiveness and saying he'd sue me. I saved all the texts but didn't reply to any of them. I crashed at Layla's again that night because, honestly, I was a little scared he might show up drunk or something. But in the morning, I felt lighter, like I'd finally stood up for myself after letting him walk all over me for years. The next thing was figuring out what to do with all his stuff. I couldn't have 15 garbage bags just sitting in my apartment, and I definitely didn't want to see him to hand them back. That's when Layla floated an idea that made me gasp. What if we just take it to the dump? It sounded really extreme. Even after everything, I wasn't sure I could just ditch all his belongings. But then I remembered the emails, the plan to embarrass me, the cheating, the 3 years I'd spent propping him up while he laughed at me behind my back. So that morning, Layla got her brother's truck, and we put all 15 bags in it. I went through them one last time. I wanted to be sure there wasn't anything really important, like birth certificates or family stuff you can't replace. I'm not that mean, after all. Then we drove to the local junkyard and, well, we chucked it all out. Honestly, watching the big dump truck crush all his fancy clothes and dumb video game toys felt surprisingly good. On the way back, Austin called. It was from a number I didn't know. I figured he used someone else's phone since I'd blocked his own. I didn't pick up, but he left a message. He said his car got taken back and he needed to grab his things from my place. He wanted to at least have something to wear to work tomorrow. Too bad, Austin. Too darn late. I'm back in my apartment now. It feels kinda strange and empty without his stuff. But also really calm. I swapped out all the locks today. My landlord totally got it when I told him what happened. I know some folks might think I went too far, but after 3 years of putting him first and getting walked all over, it felt like he got what was coming to him. More news to come as things keep unfolding. His pal Colton has been blowing up my phone with mad messages. And get this, Riley from his job is apparently wondering why Austin's suddenly giving her the cold shoulder. The pieces are still falling into place. Update. For everyone asking about legal trouble, don't stress. I chatted with a friend who knows the ropes. The car was in his name. But the money I gave him for payments? Those were gifts. I was never on the hook for it legally. Plus, I held on to all the really important papers I found. I'm not that petty, haha. Second update. You guys are seriously awesome. The love on my last post was wild, and so many of you wanted to hear more. So, here's the lowdown on everything from the past week since Austin's junk found its new crib at the local dump. Tee. Anyway, the morning after we hit the dump, I woke up to this odd scratching sound at my apartment door. Not like a knock, but definitely someone was there. I peeked at my doorbell camera. Thank goodness I put one in last year after that package swiper mess in my building. I saw Austin. He was sitting on the floor outside my door, looking totally messed up. His hair was a wreck, he still had on the same clothes from 2 days before. He was just writing something. I cranked up the sound and saw he was slipping notes under my door, one after another. I crept to the door, still in my pajamas. There were about 7 small paper notes that had been slid underneath. Each one said something different. Please talk to me. I need my stuff for work. My boss is gonna fire me. My parents won't talk to me. My car is gone. What did you tell everyone? I'm sleeping in Colton's car. Please answer. For a brief moment, maybe 3 seconds, I felt a little bad seeing him like that. Then I remembered sitting by myself in that restaurant for 2 hours. He was planning to make a fool of me. Nope, not happening, buddy. I quietly scooped up all the notes. Just in case, for proof. Then I went to make some coffee. My coffee maker conked out halfway through. Seriously? Now? So I had to use the instant coffee I keep for emergencies. My day was already starting out great, haha. While I drank my not-so-great coffee, I glanced at my phone. 83 missed calls from overnight. Texts from numbers I didn't know. 17 voicemails. Austin had been going at it. I was gonna delete them all, but then I saw one from his mom. That's something. I listened to it. She sounded sad, not mad. She thanked me for showing her what her son really thought. She asked if we could chat sometime. She said she had no clue about how Austin acted. She felt really bad that she'd raised a son who'd treat someone like that. I kept that voicemail but deleted the others. Quick note, a lot of you are asking if I called his mom back. Not right now. I'm still sorting things out in my head. I don't want to get mixed up in their family mess. Maybe later. I was getting ready to head to Layla's place. My apartment felt strangely quiet, and every little sound made me jump. Then my doorbell rang. I checked the camera again. Austin was gone, but his buddy Colton was standing there. Just great. I didn't open up, but Colton started talking anyway. He knew I could hear him through the door. He said Austin was a mess. He told me I needed to stop playing this revenge game because it had gone way too far. Then he said something that made me stop. He swore he was never at the restaurant. He said he had no idea what Austin did until later. Hold on. What? But he was there? I saw him laughing at Austin's jokes about me. Was he trying to mess with my head too? I checked the doorbell camera footage later. Colton had been recording himself the whole time he was talking. He was probably trying to get me to say something he could use against me. What a sly dog. After Colton finally left, I grabbed a bag for the night and headed over to Layla's. On the way, I figured I'd check my bank account. Anxiety. And get this, the car payment refund had already gone through. That was super quick. Usually, that stuff takes ages. I actually did a little happy jig right there on the sidewalk. I probably looked like a total nut to anyone passing by, haha. At Layla's place, we ordered food. I finally felt safe enough to sort through everything that had happened, step by step. She helped me write down a timeline of all the stuff that went down. Like I said, I'm a list freak. Number 1. Getting embarrassed at the restaurant, Thursday night. Number 2. Finding Austin's emails about planning it, Friday morning. Number 3. Sending the voice clips to his boss and parents, Friday afternoon. Number 4. His junk going to the dump, Sunday morning. When it was all written down like that, it looked super planned. For a second, I wondered if I'd done too much. Layla must have seen my face. She grabbed my phone, opened up the screenshots of Austin's emails where he planned to make me look dumb, and made me read them out loud again. Nope. I hadn't gone too far. Not even a little bit. Later that afternoon, I got curious. I wanted to see if my little Telegram plan actually did anything. I made a fresh Instagram account. Nothing real, just a made-up name and a generic picture. No worries. And found Austin's page. It was public, because he's all about building his personal brand, he used to say. Oh my goodness, you guys. His newest post was this super long, messy apology. He wrote about how he'd messed up and done wrong to folks who didn't deserve it. Typical vague stuff, not saying what he actually did. The comments were wild. His buddies were all like, what's going on? Some girl, probably Riley, just wrote call me with a sad face. And his cousin even put, Grandma wants to know why you're not picking up. While I was scrolling through his page. Okay, fine. I was totally cyberstalking him. I got a text from Travis. We knew him from Austin's friend group. He was more Austin's buddy than mine, so I was pretty surprised to hear from him. The text just said, can we chat? Not picking sides, just kinda lost. I didn't answer him at first, but then he sent another one, Austin's telling everyone you broke into his accounts and ripped him off. But that doesn't sound like you at all. Hacked his stuff? Stole from him? Oh, absolutely not. I called Travis right away. He answered on the first ring. He sounded truly shocked to hear my voice. Our conversation really opened my eyes. Travis said Austin had been spinning a completely different yarn to everyone. Austin was saying I'd lost my mind after a little joke at dinner. He claimed I'd broken into his private stuff online, stole his cash, and trashed all his belongings because of crazy woman stuff. Those were his actual words. He was making himself out to be the poor guy with a bonkers ex-girlfriend. I took a deep breath. Then I asked Travis one thing. Do you want to know the honest truth? When he said yes, I laid it all out. I told him every single detail. Waiting 2 hours. Getting shamed in front of everyone. Finding those emails where they planned it. The voice notes Austin sent about his boss and his folks. The whole deal about me paying for his car while he talked trash about me. I even played him one of those saved voice clips, where Austin called me his personal cash machine to his friends. It was quiet on the phone for a long time. Then Travis just said, "Holy smokes. He's been feeding us a line all this time." Turns out, Austin had been telling his crew stories about me for months, saying I was always around, bossy with money, and a total emotional mess. None of it was true, but they just believed him. 'Cause, he was their buddy. Travis said sorry for not getting in touch earlier. He asked if he could tell the other guys the real story. I told him he could share everything I'd said. The next morning, I finally felt ready to head back to my place. Layla came with me. She's truly the best friend anyone could ask for, just to make sure Austin wasn't hanging around. The hall was empty, but there were more notes tucked under my door. This time, they sounded angrier. "You're messing up my life. And you'll be sorry for this. And my absolute favorite, I know what you did with my things. Yeah. You bet I took it to the dump. That wasn't exactly a big secret, haha. I spent the day scrubbing my apartment clean and moving all the furniture around. It's wild how just shifting a couch to another wall can make a whole place feel brand new. I tossed out our bedsheets, way too many memories there, and got fresh ones online. I even put up some art prints I'd kept hidden because Austin said they were too feminine. My apartment was finally feeling like my space again. Wednesday morning, something else popped up. I got an email from Austin's job. Not from his actual boss, but from Human Resources. They were looking into a situation and asked if I'd be willing to share any useful information about how Austin acted at work. I figure his boss showed those voice clips to Human Resources after putting Austin on thin ice. I wrote back saying I'd tell them what I knew. That was just about the voice messages Austin sent me himself, where he talked about his job and the people he worked with. I made sure to say I hadn't recorded anything myself or gotten anything in a shady way. They seemed okay with that and asked me to send over any messages that fit. I sent them the 3 nastiest ones. The ones where Austin called his boss a doofus, said he was doing his boss's work for him, and admitted to taking long breaks without telling anyone. After that, I don't know exactly what went down, but Austin's Instagram that night had a mysterious post about being out of a job in America. So, you can put 2 and 2 together? Haha. Things got pretty weird on Thursday. I was at the grocery store and practically bumped into Austin's mom. Talk about awkward. I tried to give a nice smile and walk away, but she stopped me. She asked if we could chat for a minute. She wasn't mad in the slightest. Instead, she thanked me for sending those voice messages. Turns out, she and Austin's dad had been footing his bills for years. They had no idea he was bad-mouthing them behind their backs. That car I thought I was helping pay for? His folks had actually put down the first payment and co-signed the loan. Austin was basically tricking both them and me out of cash. She apologized for raising a son who would treat anyone like Austin treated me. I could tell she was really heartbroken. I just couldn't bring myself to tell her about the emails where they planned to make a fool of me, or about the other girl. Some things, parents just don't need to hear. When I got back to my apartment, there was a package outside my door. No more notes, just a little Amazon box. I was a bit scared to open it. I thought it might be some weird present from Austin, but inside was a Starbucks gift card and a note from my neighbor across the hall. It thanked me for finally getting rid of that noisy jerk. Turns out, Austin would crank up his music when I wasn't there, and he'd been rude to a few neighbors too. Who would have guessed? Last night, exactly 1 week after that whole restaurant mess, I finally switched all my social media to private. I also blocked Austin's new accounts. Yeah, he's made 3 since I blocked his first one. I even changed my phone number. I've been putting it off because it's such a pain, but man, it was worth it for the peace of mind. Then, this morning, get this, I got a letter from the car loan company. It said the loan was officially over and the car had been taken back. They even sent pictures of the car being towed from outside Colton's apartment, which is apparently where Austin's been crashing. The letter also said that because of the proof I gave them about the fraud, they wouldn't be coming after me for anything else. The car loan was Austin's problem now. Layla rang me up to see how I was doing. She asked if I felt bad about any of it. I thought about it for a second. Nope. Not a single bit. For 3 years, Austin took everything he could from me, my cash, my time, how I felt about myself. All I did was show everyone who he really was, using his own words and what he actually did. So, what's next for me? I've started stashing away the car payment money into a savings account instead. And I'm thinking about getting a cat from the local shelter. Austin would never let me have one. He said he was allergic, but that was a lie. I once found allergy pills in his gym bag that he'd take before visiting his parents, who have cats. As for Austin, the last I heard from Travis, he's still sleeping on Colton's couch. Still no job. His car's gone, his stuff's gone, and his name's Mud. All because he couldn't help but publicly make a fool of the one person who'd been there for him for years. Play dumb games, win dumb prizes. I guess. Quick note, thanks for all the support, everyone. To clear up some common questions. 1. No, I don't think I'll ever talk to Austin again. Not even for closure. 2. Yes, I double-checked with a friend who knows about legal stuff. Everything I did was totally within my rights. 3. No, I didn't keep any of his belongings, except for important documents, which I'll mail to his parents. 4. Yes, I'm probably gonna change the locks again. I'm paranoid he made extra keys. 5. I'll post another update if anything big happens, but hopefully, this part of my life is done. Another quick note, a few people asked how I sent those voice messages. It wasn't fancy. I literally just forwarded the Telegram voice messages he sent me to the people he talked about in them. Telegram makes it super easy to forward messages or save them and send them in a new chat. No tech wizardry required. Last update. Hey, Reddit family. It's been ages since my last update. Like 6 months? Holy cow. And so many of you have messaged me asking what happened after the whole Austin drama. So, I figured it was time to write a final post. First thing, I moved about a month after everything blew up. My old apartment still felt off. My lease was ending anyway, so I found a smaller but cuter place across town. It costs a little more, but it's worth every penny for the peace I feel. Oh. And I got a cat. Her name is Zoe, and she's a feisty tortoiseshell who, for some reason, really dislikes men. My brother came over to help me put together a bookshelf, and she hissed at him the whole time. But she sleeps on my pillow every night, purring like a tiny engine. Definitely my soul sister. I've been stashing away the money that used to go towards Austin's Mustang payment. It's added up to over $2,300. I'm planning to use some of it for a solo trip to Portland next month. I've never traveled by myself before, so I'm a bit nervous but also really pumped. Now, for the Austin news, because I know that's why most of you are here. Haha. About a month after my last post, Austin completely lost his job. Not just because of the voice messages I sent, though those certainly didn't help. It was more because he kept showing up late and, apparently, had a meltdown in a meeting. I know this because his mom still texts me every now and then. We've developed this odd kind of respect. Not quite a friendship, but it's something. Austin moved back in with his parents for a bit, but his mom says that didn't last long. He kept breaking their house rules, like coming home drunk at 3 o'clock in the morning, not helping out, and being rude to them. So they gave him a choice, get a job and help with bills, or move out. He chose to move out. Now he's apparently crashing on different friends' couches, though his circle of friends has gotten way smaller. His car was sold at an auction by the loan company. And get this, it sold for less than what he still owed on it. So he's still stuck making payments on a car he doesn't even have anymore. His mom told me he tried to blame me legally for it, but his own lawyer said he didn't have a case. The payments I made were seen as gifts, and I had proof of his fraud. The girl from his work, Riley, is now apparently his girlfriend. But from what I've heard through mutual friends, their relationship is super unhealthy. She found out he was chatting up other girls on Tinder while they were together, but she took him back anyway. They've broken up and gotten back together like 4 times already. Poor girl. She's where I was 3 years ago, and I truly hope she figures things out quicker than I did. Oh, I almost forgot the weirdest part of this whole story. 3 months ago, Austin's brother messaged me on Instagram. We'd only met a couple of times when I was with Austin, so it was really random. He said sorry for his brother's behavior, and then he asked me out. I was like, dude, that's not okay. Haha. I politely turned him down and blocked him too. Some people seriously have no idea what's appropriate. I roughly added up how much money I spent on Austin over our 3 years together. Between the car payments, covering rent when he was between jobs, paying for most of our dates, and various loans he never paid back, it came to over $30,000. That's money I could have used for a down payment on a house. I could have traveled the world. I could have paid off my student loans. Instead, I funded the life of someone who called me a pathetic puppy to my face. One more thing. Some folks in the comments are saying I went too far by getting him fired and telling his parents. First, I didn't get him fired, his own actions and words did that. Second, if you're still defending him after he planned and carried out a public humiliation of someone who supported him for years, maybe you should think about why you feel that way. Some of you asked if I'd ever think about talking to him again, for closure or whatever. The answer is no. I don't need to hear his excuses or his side of the story. My closure happened when I walked out of that restaurant 6 months ago. Everything since then has just shown me that I made the right call. Alright, so after going through all that mess with Austin, I learned a huge lesson. It's something I wish I'd known way earlier, but hey, you live and you learn, right? Here it is, plain and simple. When someone shows you who they really are, believe them. The very first time. Don't make excuses for them, don't brush off the red flags, and definitely don't keep giving them chances to treat you like dirt. I did all of that with Austin for 3 whole years. I saw the signs, the job hopping, the way he talked about his own family, the excuses, the constant need for money, and me paying for everything. But I kept telling myself things would get better, that he'd change, that he just needed my support. Turns out, he was always exactly who he showed me he was, someone who would use me, lie to me, and then publicly humiliate me for a laugh. And the worst part is, I let it happen for way too long. It wasn't until I was sitting alone in that restaurant, feeling like a total chump, that it finally clicked. My closure didn't come from him apologizing or changing, it came from me finally saying no more and taking back my own life. So, if you're out there listening to this, and someone in your life is showing you their true colors, please, for your own sake, pay attention. You deserve better than to be someone's punching bag or their personal ATM. Sometimes, walking away, even if it's messy, is the strongest thing you can do for yourself. That's my take, anyway. What about you all? What do you think about my story? I'd really love to hear your thoughts.